Hey beautiful people, welcome back to Angelic Embrace, where we document and narrate the glorious and life-changing near-death experiences sent in by you guys. It is greatly appreciated. So sit back, relax, know that you are loved, and let's get into today's near-death experience story. Consider subscribing and watching to the end to find out what happens. When I got off the bus, I had to go a few streets to my house, and that's when a city bus ran over me. At the time, I was a student at the university, and my evening shift at work was in the evening. My near-death experience consisted of the following. I was going behind an elderly guy wearing a hood and holding a light in his hand. We entered a dark tunnel where hands reached out from the walls of the tunnel, groaning and attempting to touch me. The floor was sticky. As soon as we emerged from the tunnel, the elderly man vanished, and I found myself floating in a white light that was reminiscent of a cloudy day. In the distance, I could see the mountains of China, which appeared to be partially obscured by fog, but they were very far away from me. Because I was entirely alone myself and there was nowhere to run, together with the fact that I could not comprehend what was taking place, I felt an overwhelming sense of agony. When I came to after the accident, I had no recollection of what had occurred, and when I got out of bed, I was by myself, and I fell to the floor. I had the sensation that my femur was sliding onto itself and was not holding me up. And my mother later told me that my leg was broken because someone had run over me. Later on, as I was lying down, I started to feel lightheaded, so they gave me some medication, and the feeling went away. Apparently, it happened every time I thought about the accident, which I could never recall until today. I suppose I blocked it out. No one who claimed to know me was someone I knew, not even my daughter, who was only 2 years old. I was never treated for those memory disorders, nor did I discuss them. Rather, as time went on, I became acquainted with those individuals, and I began to connect with their way of life. After the accident, I had just one desire: to get back to God. This intense desire drove me to research several spiritual practices, including yoga, Hare Krishna, Gnosis, the Catholic charismatics, shamanic, and the cyclopean method of internal activation of the pineal gland, among many others. I didn't see the use in what I was studying at the university, and I wanted to become a yoga instructor, but I didn't dare, and I've been living the life I had before the accident. Right up to this day, I've never taken a different path in my life. Next up on our list is a recounting of an event very close to death. I debated whether or not to post on this discussion board since I couldn't make up my mind. A mutual acquaintance requested me to participate in this forum, so I felt obligated to give it some serious thought. Since then, I've come to the conclusion that venting these emotions could be a healthy thing to do. On Wednesday, February 6, 2002, I was witness to an unforgettable event that happened just 5 days ago. The Friday, February 8, 2002, was the occasion of my 34th birthday. My stepfather was holding me in his arms as we were rushing me to the hospital in the back seat of a taxicab on Wednesday evening around midnight, and it was a really bizarre dream. I was sleeping in my own bed at the time, and it happened. In my dream, the rate at which my heart was racing was so rapid that I was afraid it might burst. Because the dream was so real, I couldn't stay asleep. When I opened my eyes, I noticed that my heart was truly racing quite quickly. I laid down and thought I was having an anxiety attack as I waited for it to quiet down, but it seemed like my heart was beating quicker. I was unable to reach out to my children for help. I had such a hard time breathing. My breaths came in quick, shallow gulps, similar to those a woman takes while she is giving birth. I felt I was having a heart attack, so I contacted 911 and informed the operator that I was having symptoms of one. They instructed me to maintain my composure and assured me that someone would be there shortly. I called my daughter's phone down the hall and informed her that she needed to come into my room as soon as possible. It is true, she was trembling, and I was at a loss for what to tell a fearful person like her. I was in the process of passing away, and I was stumped for something funny or insightful to say to my eldest child. That continues to worry me more than the actual event did, for some reason. I gave up any attempt to think about it at all. Suddenly, my ex-husband arrived, and the paramedics were in my bedroom upstairs. My daughter had called her dad. They were probing and prodding me while simultaneously asking me to keep my composure. My heart was beating at a rate of 200 times per minute. Really, my daughter stated that she kept an eye on the heart monitor the whole time they were working on me, and that the reading never dropped below 198. Consequently, they fastened all of these electrodes to my body in various locations. After that, they gave me an IV after finding my one decent vein, and then they proceeded to bring me downstairs on a gurney. That was more than enough to bring on a heart attack all by itself. They started heading down the stairs, then one of them said, "I should go first," and turned around. Then the other one replied, "No, I think I should go first." As a result, it took a long just to decide who would take my weight down my steep stairs. I made sure to keep my eyes shut the whole way down. Then I recalled having a chill and requesting a blanket from someone. They advised the individual to hang in there and stated that we are just going to be outside for a second. We're getting you directly inside the ambulance. When my daughter heard this, she immediately raced upstairs to remove her comforter from her bed and bring it to the other person. The next thing I knew, I was sitting in an ambulance, still only breathing in little bursts, and my heart was beating at about 200 beats per minute. I had this overwhelming feeling that I was about to pass away, and I kept going through the motions of thinking about the things that I believed I needed to be thinking about. What are people's final thoughts right before they pass away? I contemplated my children and wondered who would look after them. Tomorrow, my kid would turn 8, and I wouldn't be there to celebrate with him. Who would look after my children if I had to go to work? Where is my house? Nobody was able to afford to pay the debt on my property. Is there a lapse in my insurance coverage? Will it be enough to pay for the costs associated with my house and my burial? Wait, I believe that I am covered by homeowners insurance, and the insurance for credit cards, and insurance for your bank account. But might it just be a coincidence? Where have I stored each of these pieces of information? Is there a chance that the papers will be located by anyone? Where exactly is my ex-husband right now? Is he moving in the same direction as the ambulance? Oh my gosh, it would be my granny. I am her beating heart, and she is 90 years old. This is going to be her death. She would eventually pass away from a broken heart. And then there is my younger brother. He is more like my son, and because he lives in Maryland, which is such a long distance away, he will be sad. He is unable to go to Texas since he has no money. Someone please phone both him and my mother. Thank you. I'm very afraid. And when I was riding in that ambulance, my mind was running like this for what felt like an interminable amount of time. Then one of the emergency medical technicians remarked, "You are going to have to accept Adnison from us. You are going to experience some really unusual feelings, but everything will be okay. You're doing really well. Just give it your best effort to chill out." I felt myself drift away as they administered the adenosine injection into my arm. In fact, they were successful in stopping my heart. But it didn't help. My heart was still beating quite quickly. They stated that, "We will need to provide twice as much of the shot. You're going to receive another dose of adenosine, all right. You will once more have an eerie feeling. The first attempt was successful for you. It won't be a problem. We need to get your heart rate down a bit." In addition to that, I noticed that I was floating a bit higher. For a little period of time, it seemed as if I had become air itself. After that, I very literally felt my heart begin to beat once more. I don't recall seeing a light, but I do remember the sensation of being completely weightless and detached from my body. To say the least, it was a pretty peculiar experience to go through. While I was at the hospital, as soon as my heartbeat calmed down, I started to feel better. I can still vividly recall thinking about how close I came to passing from this planet. My whole outlook shifted as a result. I made the decision to adopt a fresh perspective on life. Now, neither item nor person can get under my skin. On Wednesday, when I was in that body, I felt completely isolated in my suffering. Yet, by the mercy of God, I was granted a second opportunity. It was explained to me that if they did nothing to slow down my heart rate, I would eventually pass out from heart failure. It goes without saying that it was a very terrifying experience. I have made up my mind to make some significant adjustments to my lifestyle, including reducing the amount of stress in my life and dropping at least 50 pounds. That's how my tale goes. I have high hopes that it will be a blessing to someone, and that they will take away the extremely valuable lesson that people don't last forever. Because you never know when your time may come to an end, you should treat each day as though it were your last. After a period of 6 months, I am doing pretty well indeed. I am appreciative of your attention. I have come to have a very different perspective on life. I am involved in ministry on a full-time basis. As a volunteer chaplain at one of our community's hospitals, I make rounds to see patients who are unwell or nearing the end of their lives and offer solace to the family members of those whose loved ones have passed away. At the Mission Soup Kitchen, which serves the needy, homeless, and working poor of our neighborhood, I also donate my time to serve as a counselor and to help in the kitchen. Even though I only do this once a week, on Wednesdays, I find that I really look forward to it. In addition, I am a part of the jail ministry team, which is a group of Christian volunteers who go to the local juvenile detention center on Thursdays once a week to teach Bible study and serve as mentors to the juvenile detainees who are housed there. In addition, commencing on the 10th of August, I will be providing housing for an international student from Korea. Today is the day that his flight will get in. He is 15 years old and a Christian at this point in his life. I will take care of him at my home for a period of 10 months, but there will be no cash exchange between us. Since I don't know a single word of Korean, I would really appreciate it if you could pray for me while I go on this trip. Whatever the case may be, I believe that I have arrived at a comprehensive comprehension of my life's mission, which is to love and serve the people around me. I do not pass judgment on anyone because, as the saying goes, men have judged, and men have judged badly. And in addition to that, we are all evaluated based on the standards that we fulfill. To put it another way, if I judge, then I will be judged in the same way. As a result, I have removed that concern from every facet of my life. I have improved greatly as a listener over the years, particularly when it comes to my own children. When I was too busy to talk to them or when I needed to rest, I would send them away. Knowing that I am being trusted with their most private ideas and sensations, I will immediately stop whatever I am doing to pay attention to what they have to say. In the evenings, we have also started doing Bible study as a family, and each child has the opportunity to choose a story for us to talk about.